Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. We are so glad that you are here, and hope and pray that whatever's going on with you, you're not succumbing to any of the pressures that come with the virus. By the way, at 5 today Eastern Time, on my little Miley Cyrus coronavirus update, I'm going to talk about living in limbo and how difficult that can be. We'll talk about that there. But joining me today, you heard the laughter, that's Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, Jill.
Hey. Hi, Steve.
And with her, Chris Williams.
Yes, good to be here with you guys.
You know, a lot of people really are struggling. I read about one woman whose children are 7, 9, and 12. She's been homeschooling, and she just graduated them from high school, and going to have them be moving out and going on to college here next year because she can't handle one more minute of it. I'll tell you, it is something. I've discovered that one of the things I don't do well is washing my hands, but I love to touch my face. Now, that's just not a good thing during this time. Anyway, really glad you're with us. Let me tell you what just happened Saturday. We did Every Man's Battle on Saturday. Larry Sonnenberg's in the studio. And Larry, that was really quite an amazing thing. It was our first Zoom-type conference that we've done where we used not just a speaker, but therapist, and it worked really well, didn't it?
It did, Steve. It was a step of faith for us because we're so tuned into physical workshops and touching and hugging, shaking hands, crying, and all that. Right. And we saw it as an experiment in a way, and it was successful. We learned a lot. We'll do better next month even, but we learned a lot, and the guys bonded in their groups. The counselors said I was so surprised how quickly they bonded. They were challenging one another. They were connecting really well, and the counselors even were just kind of surprised that happened like it does at the workshops. So
well, we really are looking forward to being able to do more. We're glad that it went well, and we'll hear from some folks about that later on, because we want you to know this is an amazing way to get some help to transform your life very quickly. Now, of course, we didn't know if the guys on there were wearing masks to protect themselves or they wanted to remain anonymous. Didn't really matter to us.
No, but we had one guy that was chain smoking the whole time.
Chain smoking?
Yeah, one of the guys on Zoom, you could have one cigarette after another.
Well, he couldn't have done that.
Couldn't have done that at the workshop, yeah.
So
that's a perk. We'll get more smokers.
So what we've done is we've provided the chain smoker discount for May, because this is amazing. And I'm just hopeful that he wasn't from Colorado and that he was or one of those
there
states.
you go.
Anyway. All right, so we're doing it again in May, and you could come. And some of these guys, they thought they didn't need it or they didn't want it, but boy, they're different. They're different people today. Anytime you're struggling, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll try to give you the help that we can. And many times that's in the form of one of these intensive weekend workshops. Right now, if you want to join us on the program, 1-800-229-3000. And as soon as we get our call screener system to work, we're going to talk to you. But you can jump right on 1-800-229-3000. We're really glad that you're with us here today on New Life. You may feel like, man, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Well, you can do it with God's help, support of friends, redemptive relationship, hanging on to God's truth. We can get through this, and we want to help you do that. We'll do that when we come back from this break. 1-800-229-3000.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, May 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. A couple of guys, I want to talk with them. We've got Bob Sklar. He was one of the counselors there with our new Every Man's Battle workshop. And then we've got Caleb was a participant. And let's start with you, Bob. What was the feel there? It was different for you. Tell us about it.
Well, you know what, Steve? It was actually fantastic. It was so exciting to kind of use technology in a good way. And, you know, it worked fantastic moving between Jason's great teaching into our breakout rooms. And, you know, the experience was pretty much like our weekend, except without being able to give someone a hug. But, boy, there was great sharing, tears shed, repentance. It was really a wonderful experience.
Well, that is so good to hear. It was all of our suspicions that because of so many things involved, it was going to be really great. It was going to work well. Caleb, you were there. What was your impression, just not being part of us, but coming in and not knowing what to expect? How did that go for you, my friend?
Well, I was skeptical going into it just because of it was virtual, you know, and I thought there's no way I can truly connect with other men on this, with it being online and sitting there for 12 hours staring at your computer screen. But God proved me wrong. And within our first breakout session, it's just incredible how I felt connected to this group of 7 other men that we were just, you know, spilling our deepest, darkest secrets and helping each other heal and supporting each other. I mean, Bob was the first one to share his story, and I could directly relate to that. And right away, that no shame zone, disappeared.
Yeah.
And then the next guy who shared it, and it was just like, whoa, there really is no shame. As they advertise, it really was a no shame zone. And I just when I shared my story, I was still a little embarrassed and nervous. But right after, all the guys, they shared their support for me and, you know, their love for me, and just the fact that they accept me. That was a big word that was throughout this process, was acceptance, and I got it. And so, yeah, there was true spiritual connection with these guys. And now we're texting, you know, support for each other afterwards. So it was incredible.
Well, you know, Caleb, just hearing you talk, I think all of us men, we genuinely, whether we had a great father or not, we want to be connected to other men. And so we do stuff together sometimes. But it's so phenomenal when one person, like Bob, starts off and says, here's where I am, here's where I've been, here's the reality of my life, how all of those walls come down, and we finally, maybe for the first time, feel true, authentic connection with other men. Isn't that a great feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. One of the things that they talked about was that they showed a video of these animals in nature, and pretty much by the end of it, it was a metaphor for, hey, there's going to be lions in your life. There's going to be crocodiles in your lions that we know are going to tempt us, but crocodiles who are going to come out of nowhere. But as a buffalo by itself or just with a few, you might not survive, but with the herd, you can succeed. And I've now got a herd of men in my corner that I feel confident that I can overcome this battle that I'm fighting. And it's so far, it's only been a couple of, days, but I just, that confidence and that support system is huge.
Well, we talk about this often, that no matter what happens on 3-day experience, 1-day experience, or even a month, if you don't have a plan and you don't put that plan in place the next day, it's all worthless. It's just a matter of time. The feelings will wear off, but the plan doesn't have to. So I'm just curious, what kind of plan are you involved with to stay the course the way you're doing right now?
Well, we're doing our plan together, the Sustained Victory Group. That's the first thing, out of this. We scheduled a time to do the conference call once a week. I am committed to checking in with these guys and them checking in on me with certain things. I've read Every Man's Battle, and I've already ordered some other books that were mentioned in the conference to help me along. I'm already with a New Life counselor that I'm meeting with once a week. And I hope this whole coronavirus ends. Yeah, I hope the coronavirus ends soon so that I can physically connect, with people. That's the next step, whether it's church, small groups, whatnot.
Okay, so what do you say to somebody that is struggling and they don't know if they ought to do this or not in May? What do you say to that guy?
If you're debating, there's no debate. Like if that's on your heart, that's God speaking to you. You have to. And for me, there was a debate over finances. Like, is this going to be worth it? Even my wife said, "Are you sure this is going to change you? Are you sure this is going to work?" And I came back and I told her yesterday it was worth the money. She said, "Really?" And went over this, and this. And by the end of the day yesterday, her and I had conversations, calm, respectful conversations that were even a few laughs involved. Like, we've never been there. And so she saw the immediate change. She saw an action, a battle plan in place. And I feel like that she feels like now that it's worth it. So there's no, the book does say you have to hate your sin though, right? So if you don't hate it,
does help.
Then you're going to, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say this, Caleb, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. It means a lot to us. And Bob, a final comment here before we go and take our first caller.
Well, just like Caleb was saying, I would encourage anybody to go and do this, especially right now. I think temptation is up, isolation is up. It's the very things that feed addiction. And there's hope here. There's a plan. There's action that you can take to move into the redemption of your life and recovery from sex addiction. This is a fantastic program.
All right, so if you're a guy, you call us. Men become men in the company of men, especially authentic men, and it'll happen here in May. You call us. If you're a spouse, mother, girlfriend, sister of a guy that needs this, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll give you the information to give them. I hope you can tell. I mean, here's a guy, he's saying, he and his wife, they didn't laugh anymore. It was anger. It was all of that tension. And here they were already. They're experiencing some of the results of healing and restoration. So glad that we got to talk with Caleb and Bob. You call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're going to be in the studio here for a couple hours, 1-800-229-3000. I'm going to let Chris Williams pick a caller to choose, and we'll talk with that person.
Yes, let's go to Jersey in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Hello, Jersey. How are you today?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing okay. Yeah, what's going on with you today?
So, I'm new to the faith. In 2015, I came to the faith, and before that, I dealt with women who weren't Christian. I met my wife, and she's a Christian. She was a Christian growing up, and I have a lot of distrust because I've been cheated on. So I wanted to know, is there anything in the Bible that will be able to help me deal and get past that distrust?
Yes, and usually, that distrust comes from doing the work to heal the wound from the original betrayal that you had. And so, Jill, you want to get us started here on? So many of us have been hurt like that, and we've had to go this same route as you. Go ahead, Jill.
And it's hard because, Jersey, when you trust someone enough to marry them, right? It feels like it's going to be wonderful and nothing could go wrong, right? But you get into marriage, and all of the issues you had prior to do start to surface, because the closer we get to someone, the more intimate we are and vulnerable, the greater chance of getting hurt. So then all of our fears get whipped up. I'm curious, though, you picked a lot of women prior to your wife that were, untrustworthy. And so you were drawn to that initially. And so I think it usually starts before that, right, in terms of some earlier hurt. And I would challenge you to look earlier in your life. Where did you first start to feel hurt? By women, by people? Where did that originate? What was drawing you to these women that you were trying to resolve in them? And then, in looking at, your wife, is she different than that? Right? Has she, because what we do is we project our old stuff onto a new situation, right? So your wife is getting the flack for everybody before you, but I'm thinking there might be something a little different about her that you chose to go the extra mile.
So what do you think? Is that true? Can you think of anything in the past from hurt? Or, is there something different about her that caused you to go the extra mile?
Well, I can say that I grew up in a Muslim household, and to see how they treated their women and how the women treated their men, it wasn't always, how Christians should be. Even though they were Muslim, I didn't get the right teaching on how to trust, and that's the only way I can honestly see it.
Yeah. Jersey, let me jump in here real quickly, and there's that great love chapter in 1 Corinthians 13 that's oftentimes recited at weddings, but it gives us two different lists of things or characteristics that really show us love versus unlove. So love is patient. It is also kind. Even if we just stay with those two things, it's like, whoa, man, the home I grew up in, and there wasn't a whole lot of patience and there wasn't a whole lot of kindness. It gives a list and then goes into more characteristics. It always rejoices with the truth, so it's truthful. It always hopes. It always perseveres. It always protects. So it does have boundaries, and it always wins. It never fails. And so we want to maybe get that list out there and look at it and like, where do I need to work on patience? But we also need to be careful of the unlove list. So love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not easily angered, self-seeking, or wrong-keeping, and it certainly doesn't delight in evil. And so as we have these two lists, one, hopefully it's a mirror for us personally. How are we doing? How is our love towards others? And then how are we experiencing that in our marriage? And I think the ultimate opportunity you have right now, Jersey, in your marriage is to then have deeper conversations about each other's experiences. And even about each other's childhoods, and what was it like, and what is your struggle, and what would you like to have in a marriage?
And trying to, Chris, to really listen and develop compassion for your spouse.
Yes.
And you're combating a whole cultural view of trusting people, really, Jersey, right? So that's where you're having now to shift to a Christian perspective. And that's something that's wonderful to explore with your wife.
Yeah, but let's jump in here. There are a lot of Christians that are missing.
Well, true.
The part
in theory,
of
conceptually, Steve.
Women. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, I'm sure there's different households.
They missed the part about
that are
Jesus
Muslim too,
honoring
that are
women. Yeah. And they missed the part about submitting yourselves to one another out of total reverence for Christ.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, let me send you a book. It's called Every Man's Marriage. It's on mutual submission. We get the balance right there, I do believe. I'll send that to you. You're listening to New Life Live.
For years, all I did was focus on my husband, and my needs were unmet because of his sexual addiction. The counselors focused on him, and all the books I read were about him and how to help him.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
This weekend gives me permission to now focus on me.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
I am so thankful to New Life for giving me what I know now is going to be a new life.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas June 26th through the 28th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. If you are lonely and need faces to look at, we're on Facebook Live right now. New Life Ministries with Stephen Arterburn is where you would go. You can share a comment, and if you do it quick enough, I'll even mention it on the air. Every weekday, 4 Central, I'm doing a quarantine-related topic, and today it's on limbo. You know, playing limbo isn't very comfortable, where you bend over almost till you fall backwards. Well, it's not fun living that way emotionally either. So, come join me. We'll talk about that. Let's go to our next caller, and once again, Chris, you go ahead and choose that human being.
Let's go with Ellen in Fairfax, Virginia.
Hello, Ellen. How are you
there.
today?
Hi there. I wanted to know what I can do to save my marriage, because my husband, for many years now, actually, he hasn't wanted to be in the marriage anymore. We have 2 kids, and I told him that I want us to be together forever. And even though he actually was the one a couple years ago to cheat on me, he is the one who really, really wants to be out of this marriage. And that's the last thing that I want, is separation or divorce. I want us just to keep working things out. But he said that I never get better with the intimacy factor. So he said that my once a week being intimate with him, it never gets better. It's never more frequent. And so he thinks that I don't listen to his needs. And so he thinks I genuinely don't care about him. he doesn't seem to think that I care about him in other ways, like I try to tell him. That's just the main thing, that we're not intimate enough, and so he just so wants out, and I just don't want our marriage to end. But he actually was a pastor a couple years ago, and he stopped being a pastor because we found out about him being unfaithful, actually, with men.
Okay, so let me just say this, all right? It really breaks my heart to hear you talk the way that you talk about the situation. It sounds so much like if you could just do a little bit better, you know, things would be better. That he's giving you this message that he wants out because you're not living up to his standard. And, you know, it's just not true. He's a fallen man. He's a broken man, and he's not willing to do what so many other men have done, and that is see the reality of their brokenness and then get some help and then begin the path of restoration. But instead, here you are saying, I want this marriage to last, and he's not faithful to you. He's not faithful to God. It's just a tragedy to hear this. And then here's an irony that I think is very hard to grasp sometimes. When we say for better or for worse, sometimes letting somebody know I will always be here for you no matter what makes it worse than better. And it's when we finally stand up and say, I will not stand for this. You must take responsibility. You must get help. This has nothing to do with whether or not my level of intimacy is adequate for you. When we start to do things like that, it has some potential to motivate the person to change. Chris, what are you thinking as you hear about this situation?
Ellen, to echo what Steve has said, it's heartbreaking to hear you. What I hear underneath all of that is that you've just lived with a lot of scarcity of love. There just hasn't been a whole lot of people in your life that show you value, and I totally understand, like, wanting to save the family and wanting to save the kids. But I also think that, man, you deserve so much more than what you're getting right now. And I don't know if you know that or can sense that, but the love that you deserve from somebody else is at such a higher plane and more abundantly. And it just sounds like your husband is caught up in an addictive process, in a very painful process, where he can only take, but he cannot give. And that actually makes him very, very dangerous. Even potentially dangerous to his own kids. And I'm not even talking sexually. It's just that a person that's unable to really be attentive, to show up, and to really show love in the world and to the people closest to him. It is scary to want something so badly and have it be outside of your control. But as Steve was saying, I believe that the work for you, Ellen, is to strengthen yourself, your resolve, the needs that you have, the desires that you have, as well as setting really strong boundaries with him of like, hey, listen, this behavior does not work and will not work in this marriage.
Well, let me jump in, Chris, because I think, Ellen, your husband is confusing illicit sex for intimacy, right? And there is no way even true intimacy can compete with an addictive sex. He thinks that that's love, and that isn't love. You're right. Yeah. This is addiction. Your husband is a sex addict, Ellen, and that's where he thinks he's going to get all of his needs met, and he's just flat out wrong. And that's that's an important distinction for you to hear, that he doesn't even know what true intimacy is, and that you're comparing the wrong things. So what he's asking for isn't something that you can give him, nor should you.
Yeah.
All right, I want you to hold on. We want to help you here, because so many other women, they experience life exactly as you are experiencing it. So I want to help you. I don't want to just tell you, here's the problem. We want to give you some ways out of the problem. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Chris Williams. Dr. Jill. So, Jill, what do you think for her brokenness, her heartache, her own sanity? What is the
I
next
think,
thing?
Ellen, I think you need to be with other women who also have been dealing with these issues. So Codependence of Sex Addicts, COSA, is a wonderful organization, 12-step meetings that I'm sure you can get online now that would be immediate support for you. We also have our workshop, Restore. And I really think your husband needs our Every Man's Battle. I mean, he's lost a job because of his addiction, right? He had to give up his career. And yeah, I think that would be the least of what he could do in terms of working on the marriage.
I'm just, I'm curious.
I actually went to your Restore workshop a few years ago,
awesome.
and I loved it. Maybe 3 years ago, and it was fabulous. So, yes, thank you for that.
Okay.
Was were the women in your church helpful or more hurtful when all of this happened?
Well, no one found out. That might be part of the problem. The only people
Why
that
didn't they
found
find out?
were, I think because my husband, he did it in such a way that he talked about his depression, and that because of his depression he was going to leave the ministry, but he never came forward and said anything. So the only people who know actually are his family, not even my family, none of our friends. No one.
And so why were you part? Why do you think you were part of his cover-up? What do you think played into that?
I guess thinking maybe it would be the best thing for our family, for our kids. Our kids were really little, and maybe for his future. I thought it would probably be the best thing. Otherwise, I thought maybe he'd be destroyed.
Yeah, and can you see how now, because I think anybody would think that,
Right,
that'd
yeah,
be natural.
of course.
But can you see, looking back, how that would have been the time for everything to come out, for him to hit bottom, beg the church to help him, Do you see how that could have produced a different future?
Yeah, you're right.
So
Instead, he's gone underground.
Just like that was a dramatic cover-up, I believe you're still involved in less dramatic, but still a covering up of the reality of his life, and you're taking it all on yourself, even after going to restore. And I just want to encourage you. You need a strong Christian therapist, not just a support group, but you've been to restore and everything, all the stuff, but you need a therapist that's challenging you to do some tough stuff, because I don't think it's too late for him or you and the marriage, but it's going to require some really tough stuff on your part. But I sure think you could do it. I think you could get beyond it. So here's what I want to do. I want to send you a copy of Worthy of Her Trust, and I want you to look at it. Maybe that'll help you. And then I'll tell you what, I won't send that. I'll send Intimate Betrayal from Sherry Cup. And let me hope and pray that is going to take care of this. That's going to give you the encouragement. Please hold on. Let us find a counselor for you. That's the main thing. Sometimes you can say, I don't want to go to a counselor because I'll look weak or something like that. Well, it's kind of like the guy that never went to AA, who, the neighbors would drive by. He'd be asleep out on the front yard, half in his car, half out of his car, because he drove up drunk and fell out of the car and passed out. But he wouldn't go to an AA meeting because he didn't want anybody to think he had a problem. Sometimes people know you have a problem, and boy, the second you get some help for it, they are so happy for you. All right, let's go to Agnes, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WFIL. Let's talk with Agnes. How are you, Agnes? How's it going today?
Hello, I'm okay today. Thank you. Thanks for taking the call.
How were you yesterday? How did it go yesterday for you?
Oh well, it's okay right now, I guess.
Okay. What's the question for us then?
My question is, my husband went to Every Man's Battle back in October, and my question is, how long do I wait for what you all call full disclosure, and what should that look like, or what should I expect of him, and how would I bring up the topic to speak to him about it when he shuts down and walks away all the time if I mention anything about anything? He is in sustained victory, and his attitude's been a little bit nicer. He tries to control his temper better, but he still spends a lot of time on the computer.
Okay. I would say, in answer to your questions, no longer, everything, and now. So you say, how long should I wait? No longer. What should I expect? You should expect him to tell you everything. And how do I bring it up? You say, now is the time. Here is actually a great way to do this. Let's just say his name is Bob. You would say, Bob, I see an improvement in your anger. And I know that full disclosure is part of the plan when you leave, and you haven't done that. I'm going to tell you that there is nothing that you could reveal to me that would cause me to leave you if you continue to work the way you're working. So I think you might be afraid of the consequences of telling me everything, when in reality, I'm ready to know everything so we can build our lives based on reality and truth. I have a counselor for us, and so let's go to that counselor. Let's meet with that person a couple of times, and that person knowing that the third or fourth time, the goal is for you to do a full disclosure in the presence of the counselor. And the counselor and you knowing, as long as you're working the program, you have nothing to fear in telling me the truth.
That
Chris,
sounds
Jill, what do you think? Anything you else she could do there, or you would disagree with, or anything? What do you think?
Well, I do think that, Agnes, that you need trust restored in the relationship, and trust is predicated on truth. You can't get there without truth. And so I think that, one, you need to work on the questions that you have for him about his acting out. And full disclosure for him looks like a timeline of his acting out behavior from the very beginning, and meaning not just the beginning of the marriage, but his life. And in that, like Steve was saying, you need someone to help guide you through that process. And so a trained therapist in this area is really, really helpful with it. But as long as he still tends to be on the computer a lot and not talk about this with you, he's still hiding, and you can't give your heart to him. And I think that just needs to be crystal clear. You're still hiding. Even if you're not hiding from your sustained victory, you're hiding from me, and I can't get to you as long as you're hiding from me.
Right. He definitely is. He actually had said, like, that the Every Man's Battle said that the wife shouldn't be the what's the
accountability.
Well, the accountability, that's true.
Computer police.
Yeah,
so
you don't have to be the accountability.
He doesn't have to tell me anything because of that.
Well, I'll just tell you right now that he's misquoting Every Man's Battle.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's manipulative, and that actually, to be really honest, is concerning to me, because I would be questioning his sobriety right now.
Well, I am. That's why I'm calling.
Yeah.
And he actually has the DVD from the Every Man's Battle. Could I watch it and see?
Yes. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you know what? Let me just simplify all this for you. If he is recovering, he is connecting with you. He is fully disclosing everything to you, and he is in meetings, not just sustained victory, but recovery meetings. And with the virus, he has discovered, oh my goodness, look at all these healthy online meetings for recovery. But that's not what he's doing. He's hiding. He's still separate, so I don't think you need to do a lot of research here and go back into the workshop or whatever. It's really simple. He needs to get his act together, do full disclosure, and commit to being honest. Any kind of recovery requires absolute honesty, absolute purity, absolute unselfishness, and absolute love. I'm not hearing much of any of that.
He's
from
still
his side.
scared.
Yeah.
And I might even put into writing what Steve said and
There you
take a
go.
different approach.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, May 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the Transformation Welcome Gift, which includes a personal-sized Life Recovery Bible, a Life Recovery Journal, and 5 Life Recovery Workbooks. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
That is just so incredible. All right, we're back. Oh my goodness, we just got some really good news about life and liberty and support, and we need your support. If you could help us, would you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE? And what a cool thing to give into fear rather than give into fear. Get it? So you give into your fear. You give as you're afraid of the future, and the reward, the strength in faith is so much greater than if you just give because of surplus, or in fear you withhold. And I got to tell you, we're working harder here, doing more stuff. I was telling somebody the other day, I don't think I've ever worked as hard my whole life than since this virus hit. And we're loving the results and hearing that we're helping some people. So if you can help us, please do. Joining Club New Life right now could sure make a big difference. $30 a month, if you could. And if you can't, well, we sure understand that too. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you could help us to help others, we would just absolutely love that. All right, let's go to Nola. By the way, we're going to do another program right after this, and you can join us on that program by calling this number, 1-800-229-3000. Nola is from Seattle, listens on KGNW. Nola, you are on with Chris Williams, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and Steve Arterburn. How can we help you today?
Hi, guys. I am so nervous, so please just bear with me here. I hope I don't rabble on and on.
Okay, we'll prevent that. I promise.
Good. I'm glad. For the past 18 years, I have been consumed with anger, revenge, sadness, just miserable. I live a very sad life. Just a quick background, if you like to hear it. I was married.
Well, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time. But why don't you tell us the most hurtful thing that has happened to you or has caused you the most shame?
I was married for 20 years. He cheated on me, blamed me for the affair, turned my two boys against me. They disowned me for 5 years. I was addicted to painkillers. I'm going on 10 years clean. He used the addiction in the court system to take the boys away from me. And I'm just resentful. I'm very hurt. I'm angry.
Okay. How long ago was all that?
18 years ago.
And you're still in the thick of the anger and the bitterness. Is that right?
Every single day.
Okay.
Wow.
So first, do you want to be free from all that?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I've prayed and prayed. I've seen counseling. Yeah. I've read books. Okay. Of course I do. Who wants to live a miserable life? I'm a miserable person.
Okay. So if you were to be willing to take my advice, I think you could get out of that place. Because I was in that place. I had to get out of it too. I was betrayed. And I know what that is like, to have that bitterness and resentment and anger and fury. You know, I tell people I wanted the person that betrayed me, I wanted to kill them. I was so angry. Isn't that horrible? I wanted to kill them. Then I healed, and I want to help you get in that same healing process. I healed where I didn't want to kill them anymore. I just wanted them to die. You know, it was progress, just die. But then I kept working, and one day I was praying good things for the person that I had hated and was so angry at. So I know that this can happen. But here's the first step that has to happen. After 18 years, you've got a lot of brain connections and wiring and stuff that points to and is instantly triggered into bitterness, resentment, and anger, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we're going to have to start replacing that with some good things to focus on. That doesn't fix it, but that's what we're going to have to start every day with, looking at some really great, positive, wonderful, encouraging truth. And Dr. Amon's a great friend of ours, and I'm going to send you this little book of scripture. It's called Stones of Remembrance, and so that's how you're going to start your day. But here's, even though our budget is weak, and I've been told don't send more than one resource, I'm going to send you something else that's going to be a process for you. We did a workbook using the 12 steps to help you grieve. The gift that God has given you is actually more painful than what you're going through right now, but once you go through that pain, you don't have to live like you're living. Grief strips away the very feelings, the thoughts, it resolves them, it dredges out the depths of all of this. So once you go through the full-on grieving process, now I don't have to feel those emotions anymore. And how old are you, by the way?
Can happen?
Oh, it happened for me.
Yep, Nola.
It
We've all
happened
been
for
there.
me. Now, how old are you?
I'm 60.
Okay, so if we can get you through this, by the time you're 61, you may only have 35 or 40 years to live free and wonderfully happy, and your kids see the transformation, and it'll transform them also. But here's what you have to do. I'm going to send you the Life Recovery Bible and the Grief Workbook. I'm going to send you this little book by Dr. Amon. So you put the positive stuff in, you do the hard grief work, but you can't do it alone. So you have to let us get a clinician, and we've got tons of them in your area, that will work you through the grieving process. And on the other side is freedom and hope. And when Chris and I do Finding Freedom again, I would hope that you would come to that, because that will just help even more. But I'm glad you called, because a lot of times people call and I go, oh, I don't know if we can really help. Oh, my goodness, we can help you. You know, the Lord says for us to get rid of all bitterness, resentment, anger, every bit of it.
I know.
And if we hope, and he doesn't do that for his good. He does that for our good. He wants us to forgive. And so,
and Nola, there's something really, really important that I want you to put out in front of you. I want you to start praying for it, even moment by moment. Is that when we're grieving and we're letting go of the things that are lost, the things that were so near and dear to our hearts, it's important that we hold on to hope.
Yeah. Hope, and not false hope, and not just wishing, but truly having hope in the Lord. All right, so we're going to give you this kit. We're going to find a therapist. And I want to say to any of you, if you're going too long in your anger and bitterness, you know, we get betrayed. Of course we're going to be angry. But you can be free of that. That's what God wants. And it's not freeing the other person. It's freeing you. Or you end up 18 years later still stuck in this horrible place. Hey, let me mention something to you. If you need some help, we've got resources. Hey, do you need to grieve? Why don't you get the Grief Workbook and the Life Recovery Bible? Go through that. You will not be disappointed. On Wednesday, we're going to have Lisa Daggs on the program, multi-award-winning Christian country singer. You're going to love hearing about her. No matter what you're going through, it'll help you. Tune in then. If you want to join us for the next program, 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help, and I'll be on Facebook, 3 o'clock Eastern. Come join me.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.